Hello, English language learners. This is Alan, your English coach, back again with another episode of Pronunciation Practice, a series of short videos to help English learners improve their pronunciation. Today we finish our trilogy of THs, the third and final episode on the TH sounds, the two sounds that the TH combination makes in English. And we finish by looking at words that start with a TH. And in this last category, we divide pretty much down the middle between vocalized and unvocalized, but not randomly, with some very clear guidelines, and that's what we're about to go over. So the two categories, subcategories of words that begin with a TH are content words and non-content words. What does that mean? Well, a content word, we'll start with those. A content word is a word which brings a lot of meaning to a sentence. In other words, often they're words that you can picture in your imagination when you hear them or you read them. Nouns, for example. What are some nouns that start with a TH? And this will give you a clue as to which sound, which TH sound we use. What do we use for content words? Well, let's find out. Let's look at some nouns that start with a TH. Thing. That's a pretty simple one. Thing. We use that all the time. Thought. Therapy. So as you can see there, we use the non-vocalized TH. The same is true for verbs that start with a TH. Think. Throttle, not used all the time, but it's the first one that popped in my mind. And adjectives. Usually we can picture adjectives when we hear them or read them somewhere. Thin, thick, thorough. And when we take certain adjectives and add ly to the end, we can get adverbs. And so many adverbs that start with a th are also content words, and well, they're all content words, and they also start with an unvocalized th. So, what does that leave us with? Well, it leaves us with the non-content words, which are mainly grammatical words. They can't just hang there by themselves. They have to have content words in order to give them meaning. For example, it would be strange if I walked up to someone and said, simply looking at them in the face and said, this thing isn't working. This, the word this, is a non-content word. We can't just walk up to someone and say this without somehow giving an indication of what this is. I could, however, walk up to them with this and say, this thing, this mouse isn't working. The same is true of that, these, and those, which are all what we call demonstrative pronouns. They point to something else. Time, certain time words as well. Then, sort of a pronoun in a sense, because you can't just, again, it would be silly to walk up to someone and say, then it started raining. Well, then, when is then? I could, however, say I was walking across the street without an umbrella, and all of a sudden then it started raining. So then is another non-content word. And as you see, our non-content words in general begin with the vocalized th sound. So there are lots more of both categories that you can go out and find, and that is your assignment for this week's homework. Find more examples of content and non-content words and try to put them in the right category. Do they start with a vocalized or a non-vocalized th? And you probably will find some exceptions. This is not one of those hard and fast rules. But in general, you can typically count on it. And we have one last small issue to look at, and that was our sort of mystery word. I've mentioned it in the first and second episodes, and at last, you've waited long enough. It's a simple but very common word, and it ends with one or the other, vocalized or unvocalized th, and that is simply the word with. Or maybe it's simply the word with. Now, I've tried to pay attention to see if there's a pattern as to when people use one or the other, and I haven't. The only pattern I've seen is that typically most people will use either one all the time or the other one all the time. So my theory is that it's a cultural thing or a regional thing, or maybe even a familial thing. Maybe it just depends upon the family or the area of the English-speaking world that you grew up in. Anyway, the nice thing is that they both mean exactly the same thing. So you can use either one, whichever one is easier for you to pronounce. There you go. Meanwhile, I hope that you have a tremendous weekend, and I wish you the best. The best. Bye-bye.